Focus on the good parts. Story 1. I'm 28. I work in a coffee shop for $8 per hour while I pay rent to my mom and dad to live with them as I'm trying to finish the college degree I started 10 years ago and gave up on, so I could smoke a bunch of pot after a failed relationship. I lost everything I had: my apartment, my job, many friends, my money. I had to go to rehab for a while, and now I'm almost 30, only making 75 cents an hour more than minimum wage, living with my parents, and paying out of pocket for school since I bombed all my grades a decade ago. Meanwhile, the girl I'm interested in is 4 years younger than me, has a degree, a job in her field, and is working on her master's while she moves into her own apartment. Sometimes I feel like I'd be doing anyone I'm romantically interested in a favor by staying away. But here's the thing. I could still be doing drugs. I could still be homeless instead of with mom and dad. I could be mooching instead of paying rent. I could have given up on school entirely. Yeah, I'm behind in life, and literally all of my friends have careers and are done with school except me. But I could be worse off, and I'm not quite 30 yet. I can turn this all around by 35 if I work hard and don't give in to the dread, depression, and self-hate. You can do the same. It's never too late. Story 2-1. Social media is an emotional cancer. Dump it as much as possible, as soon as possible. Stop focusing on what you do not have and start focusing on what you do have. Story 3. I work harder and try to learn more. Also, forget social media. People only post things they think make them look awesome. In reality, they have the same troubles and insecurities you do. Story 4. Compare yourself only to where you were yesterday, last year, or whatever. If you feel behind, maybe that's because you are, and you need motivation to buckle down and make something happen. Otherwise, take a look at your accomplishments and realize that you're doing all right for yourself. Story 5. I am 25, finished a year of trucking around Europe, and am enrolled in a nursing degree. My family says I'm too late for the party, and I feel like the biggest fool in the whole world. However, after years with depression, I've put one foot after the other and have conquered financial independence, my own space, rented apartment, and am paying for my opportunity in college. If I can keep surprising myself like I have done in the past, so can you. One step after the other. Edit. Thank you for sharing all of your stories, but I'm a lazy person, and so I'll tell you all this. You all are some magnificent individuals, and I hope life treats you well. Thank you for the support. Story 6. I may not have a wife or a house, but I'm in fantastic shape. I eat healthy, cook good food, play guitar and ukulele well, read and improve my mind. I choose a coffee shop to visit on weekends to drink delicious coffee and relax. I buy a bottle of good whiskey or tequila once a month. I paint, go to concerts, and dance. I enjoy the variety of life that many people who are ahead of me don't. Story 7. The best kind of advice is to just pay no mind to social media. One thing I keep reminding myself of that I've been told is that people only post the good on social media. Nobody is going to post pictures of the struggle they go through. Remember, social media is for two things: communicating and connecting with others and attention. Looking at these posts may make you feel that you're behind, but you don't know what's truly behind the curtain. I'm in the same boat when it comes to feeling behind in life. In my situation, I go to university, but at the same time, I've been working full-time jobs while doing it to help my family at home. It makes me feel behind because I haven't been able to do all the things I would like to because I have to be considerate of the fact that I might be needed. The thing is, and I'll admit I had a breakup recently, and it's made me see a lot of things. I was truly feeling defeated because I've been using the whole situation about helping my family as an excuse not to achieve the goals I had set. All because I compare myself to people on social media who truly have no impact on my life. Think about it this way. In life, the only variable you can control is you. Whatever happens externally, those are things you can't control. So the best thing to do is keep working hard only to improve yourself. The more you work on you and start seeing the worth in you, you'll be prepared for when the things you want start coming into your life. I wish you luck. Story 8. Well, my friend, that depends on you. Are you a fair critic? People always appear to have their lives more together than others. You are financially sound, have a niche profession, and have transformed your body. I'm assuming the latter will increase the chances of you meeting someone to share this with. Story 9. We are the first generation to be financially worse off than the generation before. Everything we saw growing up and what we expect because of that does not match up with our reality. Story 10. I might be the minority in this, but I honestly do not care about status. I grew up the son of a housekeeper, and through her job, I've seen how unhappy millionaires are despite having hundreds of millions of dollars, sleeping with models, recognition, and respect from their peers and such. The one thing most of them didn't have was the love of their family members or genuine interactions with most people. I grew up poor, but I didn't even know it until high school when I started hanging out with actual middle-class families, and even most of those families were dysfunctional. More than anything, I grew up fairly happy because my mom loved me and showed it to me in so many ways, as did her family. Through her job, I've learned that appearances don't matter at all. Who cares about money and fame when you have nothing meaningful to show for it? I went to San Francisco this past spring to visit some friends, thinking that they had it made because they worked for the Golden State Warriors, Sony, Google, and others, only to discover that most of them were miserable with their lives because they hadn't cultivated any meaningful relationships with family members, friends, or partners, and their jobs were unfulfilling. I was shocked, sad, and honestly felt a little vindicated because I had come to San Francisco thinking of myself as a bit of a loser compared to them. So my suggestion is, don't compare yourself to other people. You most likely have something they want just as much, if not more, than they have something you want. The best thing to do is think about whether what you're doing with your life is what you want. As long as you're working on the things that you want to do, then why compare what anyone else is doing? They have completely different desires from life than what you do. I'm happy for any friend of mine who is happy, and don't even try to compare our lives. You do you for yourself and nobody else. You'll quickly stop comparing yourself to others. Story 11. Hey, just a girl who doesn't feel totally like a woman yet, popping in to say be careful. There is a huge amount of pressure on men, or I know a lot of men who feel an immense amount of pressure to perform, provide, and improve constantly. One of my friend's husbands committed suicide for these very reasons. That idea of inadequacy can take hold of you, and it can spiral quickly if you allow it in. You have a relationship with yourself that is separate from the rest of the world. Separate from your parents, your family, your friends, your work, your partner. When you are honest with yourself, you can really let yourself feel what's important in your life and what is worth protecting. Quite often, these aren't the things you are aiming for on paper. Your alone time is worth protecting, your hobbies, your time to just think, and not have it have a goal. Your Sundays doing nothing with your mom and dad. These aren't ever put on paper, but they are as important in our lives as anything. And any part of our humanity that is ignored repeatedly will always come back to haunt you. Also important to note that life can unfairly kick you in the balls at any time, for no reason. Don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes all you can do is keep your head above water, and that can be the only focus of your life for a while. Do what you can when you can. But looking after yourself isn't just something girls go to spas for. It is a job. It's something you have to take seriously because life is rough. Do all the things you wouldn't put on social media, and see how the world still spins and even opens up to you. Don't get a promotion. Have a bad holiday. Try and enjoy something you don't like, just to see if you can. Then when it doesn't work out, have some pizza in a bubble bath. Story 12. Comparison is the thief of joy. Disengage from social media and focus on yourself. Once you have done that, you will quickly realize that you are already quite awesome. Story 13. You should listen to that voice that is not happy with where you are. In my experience, once you start listening, it starts giving you suggestions rather than just criticism. And if you take those suggestions and make something of them, that voice starts offering praise and more suggestions. After 5 years of listening to that voice, who knows where you might be? It has certainly been a positive influence on my life. Story 14. Get off social media. People can't compare lives like that. It's not healthy. Most people don't share the bad stuff in their life, at least the ones that go around showing everything good off. What everyone else has going on shouldn't concern you. Life is truly not a race against other people. Live your own life and make yourself happy, not your friends from school or your coworkers. Story 15. I had this a while ago, maybe a year back. I went home for Easter to my parents. We were sitting outside in the wonderful sunshine, having breakfast at the table, just chatting and laughing. And this wave just hit me like I was a failure. Not married at 32, no kids, single for a year or so, just renting a place, making good money but not enough. I burst into tears out of nowhere. After I calmed down, I said I didn't know how I was going to get a place of my own. Even though I make almost double the United Kingdom average wage, it's just not enough for the banks. 270,000 isn't enough for near London. So a few months later, I'd had enough. Forget society. Forget what anyone else thinks. I realized I felt like a failure because that's what married, older people thought about me, not what anyone else my age thought. The average first-time buyer in the United Kingdom now is pushing their 40s. People are having kids later in life, past their mid-30s. I still have years ahead of me, and it'll happen when it happens. Until then, I'm enjoying the aspects of, hey, I want to go to Japan again, and can go whenever I want. I can eat what I want, do what I want within the law, enjoy my earnings instead of saving every penny. Indulge on things as long as I don't go into the negative like an idiot and don't go crazy. Live a little. Because when the kids arrive and you wish you could get a moment's peace and some time to sit down and watch TV or play a game, and the wife stops loving you as much because that's what happens in most relationships, you'll wonder why you bothered ticking someone else's boxes. If you think it's bad now, I'd argue it gets worse when you start a family. Do you? Nobody else will. Forge your path, not what your parents or married friends think. They did them. Focus on you. Story 16. I feel the same way at times. Just try to remind yourself that you are going at your own pace. As long as you are doing what you need to be doing right now to get where you want to be, do not worry about comparing yourself to others. Also, I usually hop off social media for about a week or two every 3 to 4 months, and it is refreshing. I suggest you try it out. Also, I am not sure how old you are, but you should read The Defining Decade: Why Your 20s Matter. It provides good motivating factors for getting your life together sooner rather than later. Story 17. Why have you always got to climb the greasy pole and focus on more money and more responsibility? If you're happy working a low-income job just to pay bills and not bothered about having extra things, just do it. I had a heated discussion with my mom about being the family failure and told her that I'm happy. So back off. I don't care who's doing this or bought this or has a certain number of kids. I still pay my mortgage and bills and go on holiday, and I've got beer money, so what's the problem? I'm also in a 10-year happy relationship, so no personal issues. If a woman doesn't take you at face value but wants certain things, tell her to leave and wait for the next one. Story 18. What you are going through is called fear of missing out. A lot of people today suffer from the same thing, and it is all about taking precautions so you do not get stressed about it. Simple things like using social media less and realizing that social media is not the full picture can help. I would advise you to search up more about fear of missing out, as the internet has a lot more advice than what I can give from the top of my head. Story 19. I found out that even people who succeeded in life earlier than others compare their life to theirs. Some feel sorry for not getting a diploma soon, others because they don't have a job, others because they don't have a high salary, and there are those who, even having all of this, feel sorry for not having a family. The point is, you will always be ahead and behind someone in life. Story 20. People who post on social media are not perfect. On Instagram, you will see people having all sorts of fun. But you have to think about how they have their ups and downs as well. Let us say you see someone you know on a really expensive trip. Probably took them a while to earn the money. People only post things that make them look good and make them seem like they have this amazing life. Story 21. Remember this: popcorn is prepared all in the same pot, in the same heat, in the same oil, but they don't pop at the same time. So don't compare yourself to others. Your time to pop is coming. I saw this in a post, and it keeps me grounded whenever I feel like I'm behind. Story 22. For me, it was diversifying my life portfolio, so to speak. In my professional life, I definitely feel behind, but I've found activities outside of work, such as volunteer work and creative projects, to bring fulfillment. It makes the workday easier knowing that afterward I'm going to do something that directly helps people or something that I love doing. The idea that work is where life's purpose is created is generally a problematic one, so finding balance is key, and finding one thing that makes you feel like you've accomplished something can really help. Story 23. I constantly feel this as a 30-year-old victim of arrested development, and the past few years have been a struggle to catch up. But now I'm starting to realize that most adults my age and even older are not doing much more incredible than I am. I mean, I have no kids, no significant others, but then I look at old friends and family and see that besides having kids and a significant other, they lead average lives just like me. Work, come home, have some fun every once in a while. But yeah, I feel like my biggest problem is looking at those who are frequently traveling the world, looking healthy, eating great, dressing well, and comparing myself to them. This is why social media can be a poison. You see this stuff and constantly compare. When it comes to a girlfriend and maybe kids later on, I don't feel too bad about that. I'd rather have my life together before I approach that again. When it comes to traveling and adulting well, having good money, it takes steps, and I'm starting to realize that. I see it like this. No one has to know what you're doing. You can go hide in your cocoon away from the world and develop yourself, and no one will know if you were behind or not. They see you from that point of being better, and you move on with that.